Yo, what's poppin', guys? Today I got the deck that I climbed to Master 1 with. This is Infernoble and not Zephyra, but I think the deck is very, very fun. It has a lot of power to push through hand traps. It has a lot of power. Going second too, even. Very fun to play. Good matchups in the meta. And if you go first and resolve your full combo, you just win for free, basically. So there's no point in showing that off. There's enough videos on YouTube of people just doing an uninterrupted Infernoble full combo. And it's the same thing every time. So I think it's a lot more interesting going second or playing through multiple hand traps. So that's what I got for you guys today. Here's my deck list and some of the replays. You'll see me playing Droll and Lockbird. I was playing that for a little bit, but I didn't really like it. It didn't come up enough, and I'd rather draw pretty much any of the other cards that are in my deck. So I just took them out with the upside of finding outs to Maxx more frequently. All right, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I hope you enjoy the video. All right, so for our first replay, I am going to be going first. Of course, it's going to be through some hand traps. We're going to try to bait an Ash Blossom here, and the bait is successful. We already have Heritage and Diabell Star to follow up, plus our normal summon, so there's a ton of different lines we could go for here. I'm actually going to go ahead and opt to go for a line that still gets me my hand rip with the Diabell Star on field. So we're going to go ahead and send 3 here to get the Dolphin rotation, and he nibs me here so I don't rip his hand. So this is where you make the Link Spider, which you can then send off the OSS, and you just full combo into here. It's game over at this point. So the good thing about Link Spider is it lets you use OSS to play through a nib instead of you needing to also have a equip spell. If you equip something to a nib, you could just send that, but not all of these are equipable. For example, this only goes to fire or warrior monsters, and you're not always going to have one. Yeah, so I don't remember if they surrender here or not, but basically just to show the power, we got hit by Ash and Imperm, and we're still setting up all of these disruptions, clearing his whole board. So we have a spell trap negate, a monster negate, an omni negate. We can negate any spell card on resolution, and we have a pop. Plus we have follow up. All right, so this replay, going first again, and we're gonna go see if we can bait out some disruption here. So we're checking for Ash. I'm so ready to go connector for a delicious hand rip, and we get Maxx here. So this is kind of awkward. I'm going to just go ahead and check what's in his hand here right after drolling myself and him as well. This means he can no longer search for no longer draw cards and stuff. So I have pretty much guaranteed knowledge of his hand, and I'm going to rip the Ash, of course. I can't hit the other guys because they're too big, but we know that he does have an Imperm here. So we're pretty much just going to Hail Mary it. He has Primera. We're kind of dead next turn, right? So we're just going to count him being a bad player. Go ahead, make the Isolde. We can't use the first effect, which is normally just perfect, like bait him and stuff, right? But he just Imperms it. Anyways, so this is great. We got the Living Fossil, bring back our guy, and this is why you play the second Isolde, because we just go ahead, use the second effect here, and he scoops instantly. All right, here we have a Duel going second. Our hand's pretty decent, and we get hit by Duality plus Shifter, and they reveal they're on Fluwandereeze here, but they don't actually have a starter, and the deck can be quite bricky. We're under Shifter. If he has like 2 disruptions here, we completely lose our entire grind game. So I'm sad I have the Maxx in my hand as well. But we're just going to go ahead and pass. And yeah, he's still just bricked. So now we're no longer under Shifter. We're going to pitch the dead Maxx because it does nothing against this deck. Go for a Diabell Star. Grab ourselves the OSS. And this is where we get Ashed. Very obvious Ash. And now we're going to go ahead and make the Hita because I was feeling disruptions. I'm thinking he has Imperm. He ashed here, so we just get to go into Promethean Princess for the Ricardetto that we normal summoned. And of course, we eat it right here. Our 2 draws, completely dead. Ash at least gives me something next turn, but the Diabell Star, I mean, I guess as well, kind of. It's pretty bad, but it's okay because our hand is actually good enough to find lethal here as long as he doesn't have any other disruptions by using Ricardetto's secret effect where you banish it from the graveyard to just special summon another dude. Now we go into Princess, and I was planning on bringing back the Ricardetto, but if we bring back the Hita, we get to equip the Phoenix Gearblade here and use its secret effect to give all our fire or warrior monsters a second attack this battle phase. So very nice to just jump scare, find lethal. All right, here we have another crazy duel. We get to go first. Our hand is pretty nutty. I'm gonna go ahead and lead with the connector, and I'm going to greed a little bit and grab the Diabell Star here to get a big body before I go for the rip with the Aqua Dolphin. And we'll have a look at his hand, and it looks horrible for me. Like, honestly, there's a Super Poly, Heavy Storm. This clears my negates because I need to send the equips, right? This is a great push, another board breaker. And I get super punished by summoning Diabell Star because he has Shaddoll Beast here, which when I send to the graveyard, he gets to draw a card. Otherwise, I would have just taken 500 damage because I can't hit it. But yeah, this is not very good for me, but we're going to try to make the best of it. He gets to draw cards, so he has another unknown card in hand plus his unknown top deck, right? So we're going to go for Isolde here. And I was considering against the Super Poly to go for a line that runs through the Promethean Princess. That way, even if you like outs most of my board, I just need to have 1 fire on the field to get the Princess to bounce back, have another disruption. But I'm getting triggers here, so I'm thinking there's no way he drew into like Nib, right? Or maybe even Gamma, but we're not going to risk it. We're going to go ahead and make an Appaloosa here. Appaloosa also good into Super Poly because I'm not putting any other wins down, so you can't Super Poly with this. I'm going to continue with the normal line, more or less. Put out all these guys, summon them out, go for Angelica here. This does warrior lock us now. So Princess is off the table, and he has the Nib. He actually drew into it. We got super punished, but we got rewarded for making a good decision afterwards and committing into the Appaloosa, which was also, I think, the 6th summon or something. So he could have definitely made it, like, just Nib me before. But we still end on the same end board, but instead of Appo, it's just a Nib token. And we're going to set up the rest of our stuff here. Get out the Gearfried. And we're going to go ahead and send him here for the Ricardetto. Triggering him as well, because Magus did get sent from the field to the graveyard. We got to draw another card. We find an Ash Blossom here. And we're just going to use these 2 to make SP, which is also still a warrior. So we can still make it under the warrior lock. And we are going to go ahead and grab that Angelica's Angelic Ring here. So what's our disruption? I can't speak anymore. What the heck? What's our disruption here? We have the Appaloosa for 2 monster negates. We have 2 spell trap negates with these guys, and one of them gets to pop off of the synchro effect. So we're at 5 disruptions already. SP is 6, Gearfried 7, Ash is a hidden 8th disruption, and the Angelica's Angelic Ring gets to negate a spell on resolution. So this means we can negate Super Poly. Now, this is a mandatory effect. Each turn negate the effect of your opponent's first spell card or effect that resolves. The rulings on this are very, very important. So what you'll see here is he's going to lead with, I believe, the Foolish Burial Goods. Exactly. So we could Ash this, which will negate its effect, but then the jargon for it or whatever is the card, the effect. No, the card resolves without the effect. Something like that. So it still resolves. It just doesn't have an effect. So if I were to Ash this, I would use my Ash, and then Angelica would also mandatorily trigger on it, and I would just have wasted one of my disruptions. So we have to negate the activations of all their spell cards. Very important. That's what the Link Charleses do. So we're going to have to eat that. Then the Heavy Storm would clear all my other Charles negates as well, or the Gearfried negates, or my ring. So we're going to negate the activation again. Very important. And here they go for Super Poly, which, considering we know they have Nib here, so they have Talents left and whatever they drew for turn. So it looks like they would prefer to use the Talents to try to do something. There's not really much they can Super Poly for either, to be honest. I've already used up both of my Charles negates. And I haven't used Gearfried. So I would lose Gearfried, but I don't even lose the pop from the Charles because I would have the other one there as well. And he can't Apple either of these guys. It's kind of bad. Anyways, it gets negated by Angelic Ring. He's going to go for Talons. I have no way of disrupting this. And he decides to take a monster, which I really don't care about. If this was draw, I just ash it. And if it's take, I can just check this with SP or with Gearfried. So I get to use either SP or Gearfried on whatever he has. And he's a legend. He just top decks Rhino Heart on top of this hand, which is crazy. And we're going to Gearfried it here to remove the body from the field. I don't want him to like try any other shenanigans with that. And we know he can't bring it back actually because there's nothing in his hand to discard. So there can't be any tier names there. And our SP gets to just negate the Apo. We clear this body. He's on 0 cards. We have lethal on board. And we win the game through all of those board breakers and that crazy hand.